Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mamadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We just completed the ninth chapter of Panchadashi that involves a meditation on Nirguna Brahma. You cannot really meditate on Nirguna Brahma, but one can constantly memorizing as though it is a japa constitutes a Nirguna Brahma Upasana as sanctified by the Upanishad. And in that case, that can be done or should be done those who cannot do vichara. Because vichara is required, inquiry is into required after gaining the paroksha jnanam, that means through the study of scriptures, that there is a Brahman, Brahma Satyam, and the world is nothing but Nama Rupatmakam, that is Jagan Mithya. It is given by the scriptural statements, Vacharambanam Vikaro Namadeyam. It is only Namke Vaste creation, only for namesake creation, and naming involves knowing. So I cannot name unless I know it. So naming requires a knowing, and knowing involves a conscious entity. Therefore, unconscious entity cannot know. So therefore, the world is Nama Rupa. Rupa means form. Form means an attribute. So Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. These are the 5 attributes of an object can have maximum, and without the attributes I cannot define an object. So in any definition involves object is like this, we are only providing either in terms of rupa. Rupa constitutes both the form and the colors that the eyes can see, and the sounds if the object produces sound. So by sound I can differentiate the nature of the object. So by hearing from somebody says, I know that person is there because in the past I could identify the sound that he produces or the voice he has with the person. So identification of an object through attributive content is all the attributive knowledge constitutes a rupa. So there is only nama and rupa, there is no substance there. Substance is only coming from Brahman, because the scripture says the infinite itself became many, and that's what is going to be discussed in the 10th chapter, how the Brahman became a many. Therefore it is nothing but the Lord himself or the Brahman himself appearing as many. Appearance involves attributive content, and attributive content is an objectifiable entity. Through the senses I can see, and I gave a name because I know now. So knowing and naming, and therefore a conscious entity has to prove the existence of an inert entity. Inert entity doesn't say that I am there. So it is only conscious entity that says the object is, because I can see, I can hear, I can taste, I can smell, and all the 5 Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Shabda is sound that I hear through my ears. Shabda, Sparsa, a touch, and Rupa through the form and colors. Sparsa, Shabda, Sparsa, Rupa, Rasa, taste, Gandha, smell. And if my 5 senses are not working, then from my point the world cannot be experienced. Therefore existence of the world cannot be ascertained or cannot be determined. it's only a probability that it may be there, it may not be there. As in the dark room, if there is a chair or not, it may be there because I don't see. So seeing or naming and therefore becomes a means of ascertaining or determining the existence of an object. So through paroksha jnanam means indirectly, not directly in the sense that it is through the Vedanta I can know that Brahma Satyam and Jagan Mithya. And to know the absolute truth, who am I, the subject? Because I am objectifying this in the process, then there is a subject which gives you a knowing and the naming, and the subject has to be conscious entity, and that has to be inquired, who is the subject? He says, I am the subject, but I am cannot be objectified, and I cannot therefore have an attributes, and therefore I need to know who that I am is. Vedanta provides a means of knowledge to know you are nothing but Brahman, Tattvamasi. So that's why Vedanta becomes a Shastra, to point out my nature of my reality. And having understood that, so therefore Brahma Satyam and Jagan Mithya, having understood through Vedanta Sravana, I had to abide in the knowledge. So as J. Krishnamurti puts it, it's not an understanding as a thought, but it's an understanding as a fact. So I had to understand factually I am total Brahman. So that requires a vichara, tad vijnasasva. Therefore inquire into that your own nature by rejecting what you are not and claiming what you are. And what you are, scripture says you are Brahman. So I had to claim what I am already, rejecting what I think I am. Because of ignorance, I am taking what I am not as I am. So knowledge of the Vedanta, I can claim. For that, vichara is required. If the vichara means inquiry is required. If I cannot do inquiry, because my mind is not subtle enough to do inquiry, or not purified enough because of the remaining ragadveshas, that means likes and dislikes are still there, lingering there. I have purified enough to listen to Vedanta, but not purified absolutely. Because absolute purification is thermodynamically also, you cannot get 100% pure material. You can only get 0.999999 or 19.9999. You can put only nines, because there is always, by the energetically, you cannot have 100% pure. In the same way, I cannot have the mind 100% pure, but I can purify enough. But I don't need to wait for 100% purity. So I used to have a technician who was very perfect, and he wants to make sure everything is exact, and he was spending so much time trying to make smaller and smaller adjustments to reach a perfection, which he was not happy until it's perfectly clear or perfectly aligned and so on. And in the process, he was wasting so much time that we could not do much experiments. So you have to give up after some point. This is enough for because my experimental error are much more higher than his accuracy that he is trying to measure. So trying to be perfectly 100% pure mind, you cannot have it. So once you have purity enough to listen to Vedanta, that requires a purity of the mind. If you are sitting in the Vedanta class and the mind is running all the way somewhere else, then obviously you better go where the mind is. You are not able to pull the mind back and concentrate on the class. So what is required is that ekagrata, chitta ekagrata and chitta vishalata, both are required through karma yoga and by upasana yoga. And therefore that minimizes raga dveshas, and therefore mind doesn't run away. I can concentrate on any object, including the Vedanta Sravana. Once I gain that knowledge, I had to contemplate it and make it and claim myself, I am Brahman. So knowing that yes, I am Brahman, I understand I am Brahman, I am Satchit Ananda because I know I am existent, I am conscious entity and consciousness is infinite, all that good I can say. But when I am transacting in the world, that knowledge doesn't remain because the deep-rooted ragadveshas come out and in transactional world they express itself and I get into samsara again. So in order to do that, I have to inquire, and if I can't do it, then I have to purify the mind by process of slowly inquiring process. In the process, as I do it, the nididhyasana, then the mind gets purified by the process itself, and slowly once abide onto the knowledge. And how do I know? The frequency of perturbation, the intensity of perturbation, and recovery time from perturbation goes down as I abide in the knowledge. So if I cannot do the vichara, Vidyaranya says, now you do meditation or the japa yoga similarly on the Nirguna Brahma. Nirguna Brahma means after studying Vedanta, Aham Brahmasmi, if I can do inquiry, inquiry is the most important. If I cannot do it because of different reasons, and one of the reasons he states is Adrushta Pratibandha, obstacles that I cannot really see, which Gaudapada calls is Kashayam. Kashayam means we don't know what it is, but it has to go through process. So if I have that kind of obstacle, because I am not able to abide in the knowledge that Aham Brahmasmi, in that case, do as a japa, but constantly remembering the knowledge. So just like when I say Aham Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. So I not only doing the japa of Narayana, but I am not doing something else in the process, even though mind may be, physically I may be working, but mind constantly contemplating on the Lord Narayana. Fortunately, Lord Narayana himself is everything, because he said Vishwam Vishnu. So whole universe is nothing but Vishwam is Narayana only. So when I am looking at the world, I am not away from Narayana. So looking at the world and seeing Narayana there becomes a japa, and also becomes a knowledge also. So that same way I can do Aham Brahmasmi as japa, and that is called Saguna Nirguna Brahma Upasana, and that was exhaustively discussed in the last chapter. Now we are coming into the 10th chapter, and this is called Nataka Deepa Prakarana. So Deepa Prakarana, Deepa constitutes the consciousness. So there are set of five in each chapter, because it's a total Panchadashi means 15 chapters. On the 15 chapters, there are 3 sets of 5s, and first 5 deal with the Sat aspect, and second 5, that is from the 6th to the 10th, deals with the consciousness, that is Chit aspect, and from the 11th to up to 15th constitutes the Ananda aspect. So here this is Deepa, means the Chit aspect, and this is the last of the Deepa Prakaranam, because this is a 10th chapter, and he calls this as Nataka Deepa Prakaranam. Nataka means, it's a drama or a stage where you are acting as though in the stage of life. So how to look at the life itself as Natakam. So you have to be, you are on the stage. On the stage means you are taking a role on the stage, and you have to play the role. And whatever the role comes because of the prarabdha, you have to play that role. If you are a husband, you have to play the role of husband. If you are a wife, you have to play the role of wife. Similarly, if you are a student, you have to play the role of a student, or a teacher, you have to play the role of a teacher. Whatever the role that comes because of the prarabdha, you have to play. So Natakam here, Natakam is the drama or a dance, and on the stage This is what the chapter contains. But the stage here is a stage of life, and every role that I play, employer, employee. So when I go to office, I am taking the role of an employee. Therefore, I had to play the role of employee as best as I can. So when you are in the dance drama or when you are in the dance, you have to do your part as best as you can so that the audience can appreciate. So there, if you are a beggar or if you are a king, you have to play that role properly. And for a beggar, you have to like a beggar, even though you may be millionaire in outside, you have to play a beggar role in the drama. The same way, the problems of the beggar belongs in that role only, not to you, the one who is playing. So who is playing? I am playing, and this that I am taking up the body and this role that I am playing has to be played. And this is what the whole chapter deals with, how I should play the drama of life, because life itself is a stage and you are already entered into the stage. So you cannot say, I don't want to play. I don't want to play and sit in one place is also another drama only. So as long as you are alive, you cannot but play the drama of life. How you play without getting affected by the drama itself or by the other roles, that's what you need to know. So here we are going to initiate what is the stage, who are the actors here, and what is the audience, and all that is will be described compared to stage of the life itself. The actor entering onto the stage, the role playing. So you are playing a role of a husband when you are dealing with your wife, or you are a player of wife when you are dealing with your husband. You are a father when you are dealing with your son or a daughter, or when you are an employee when you go to office. So in each role you have to play that role only. You don't bring the other role into this. So don't go to office and think of your wife and child there. That means you are mixing up your roles. So our problem is, we go to office and think of house. We are in the house, think of the office. So intermixing of the drama roles is a big confusion for everybody. This way, playing role is not a problem, because roles will have a problem. Roles will have a problem doesn't mean that you have a problem. And that's why you have to separate yourself from the roles problems. Roles will have a problem. So even whether it's a jnani, ajnani or something, as long as you have a body, mind, intellect, body pains will be there, this pain will be there, that pain will be there, and all pains can all be there. Yet you do not have pain, that you have to shift yourself or the mind, that I am a sakshi, because I can see pain. If I can see the pain, therefore that means pain doesn't belong to me. Same true with respect to pleasures also, not only pain, because when we pain we complain. We don't complain when we have the pleasures. We think that we deserve it, but as being pains we don't deserve it. So that's our problem. So we should have a proper attitude of the mind by living, then the living itself becomes a beautiful drama. That becomes a natakam. So with that, let's go into the verses. This has almost like 26 verses. It's a short compared to previous chapters that we discussed. And this is talks about the realization or what need to be done to abide in the knowledge itself. So it's a very important chapter. So let's do verse 1. Paramatma Dvayananda Purna Purvam Swamayaya Swayameva Jagad Bhutva Pravishad Jiva Rupataha. So together, Paramatma Dvayananda Purna Purvam Swamayaya Swayameva Jagad Bhutva Pravishad Jiva Rupataha. So whole creation of the 9 yards he is putting in a very condensed form, because he has discussed this in the other chapters. So it is just a recollection of what is the state of both Aparoksha Jnanam and Paroksha Jnanam, all are being provided here. It says Paramatma. Paramatma is the supreme Atma, that means the Brahman. Here, with reference to here, it's Brahman. Paramatma Advayanandaha. So Advaya Anandaha. Advayam means non-dual. So here the reference is Paramatma from the point of pure consciousness. What is scripture says? Sadeva Saumya Idamagram Asit Ekameva Advitiyam. Existence alone was there before creation, and that itself Tadaichata Bahusyam Praja Eti and all that. So that the existence of that Sat Eva Idamagra Asit, before creation, existence alone was there, and that existence itself became many, because his statement is existence alone was there before creation. So after creation, it is not alone anymore. So after creation, existence is still there, but now expressing in terms of varieties of names and forms. That's what the scripture goes into in the Chandogya. So from the point of Sat, that being discussed, from the point of Chit, Atma Vaidamagram Asid, our consciousness, self alone was there before creation. Self here is talking about Anand, the consciousness. Similarly, the Ananda alone was there before creation. So, depending upon either Sat aspect or Chit aspect or Ananda aspect have been emphasized before. And it says Advaya. Advaya is not the non-dual, but it's non-dual in the sense of it is negation of the duality. So what is there is dual. Right now, what is there is dual. So the whole teaching is for a Jiva, a mumukshu who wants to know. So he is seeing duality. So when he is seeing duality, the teaching is there is non-dual. There is no duality. So when he is seeing at the same time saying that non-dual, so what is implied is obviously what you are seeing is not really real. So the truth is Advayam. It is non-duality in spite of duality. Non-duality in spite of experiential duality. So this has to be understood clearly, because it's not a something state where there is no more objects, no more thoughts and all that. Because existence of the duality translates to existence of the thought in the mind. And it is therefore duality outside becomes a duality or multiplicity of the thought. So every object I see has become a thought in my mind. And even though object thought is gone, that memory is still there. So therefore the idam means this that I see has become this thought, this thought, this thought. Each thought centered to on particular idam. So when I am seeing it, at the same time the subject consciousness joining with the existence expressed as a thought, for me to be conscious of the existence of the thought, therefore existence of the world. This is how perception is. So when I perceive object, it forms a thought in my mind, and that becomes a idam vritti, this thought. This means this contents of this is nothing but the attributes of the object, reflected attributes of the object. Not attributes belong to the object only. So only reflected attributes of the object reaches the mind, and that is forms a vritti. And the vritti is still inert because it's a thought, and it comes and goes. So it's an object. But the vritti thought has to be known by illumination of consciousness. When the consciousness I joins the existence of the object expressed as idam or this, then I will be conscious of the existence of idam. That means I am conscious of the existence of the object out there. So all that is there, but the statement here is that Paramatma Advayam. Advayam means before the subject-object duality is, what was there is only one, now it appears to many. That means both the subject and the object are nothing but Paramatma only. That has to be understood here. So Paramatma was Advayam, means apparent duality is not reality. Duality that you see, Dvayam, is not really real, therefore it Advayam. So negation of the reality, negation of the duality is what is being pointed here. As a Paramatma Advayam. Ananda. Ananda means it is of the nature of happiness. Happiness is Anandam, is not what I experience Ananda in any Vishayananda. In the Vishayananda means by sense objects, when I say the Ananda happiness that I get is only a reflected happiness, Pratibimba Ananda. So depending upon the nature of the reflection or how much of my mind is longing for it, and when that desire, strong desire is fulfilled, then my happiness is also higher. The highest happiness depends upon the desires that are fulfilled. That's why there is an Ananda scale in the Taittiriya Upanishad, where one unit of Ananda, Manushya Ananda, is the Ananda of a Sarvabhauma. Sarvabhauma is the Sarvabhuma, Bhumatva, the whole world, that he is the Ishaha. So Sarvabhauma is one who has the control of the whole universe, whole world, and he is Sarvabhauma. And of course he is young enough to digest whatever he eats, so he can eat whatever he wants and be happy. So that unit of that person, a hypothetical case, because we don't have anybody Sarvabhaumas, even the so-called Sarvabhaumas only a big area, they were only praised that you are a Sarvabhauma, but Sarvabhauma means whole world has to be owned by him or conquered by him. And that happiness of that person is only one unit. So therefore Gandharva Ananda, Deva Ananda, Indra Ananda and Prajapati Ananda, all that scale 100 times more of that, 100 times of previous one, and ultimately the Brahmananda, Brahma means here the Hiranyagarbha Ananda is 1 into 1 followed by 26 zeros Ananda. That means he is 1 into 10 to the power of 26 of 1 unit of 1 Sarvabhauma Ananda. That is familiar. And that Ananda is still reflected Ananda only. And if reflected Ananda itself is that much, what do you think of the pure Ananda that is getting reflected? And that is Ananda Swarupam. Why? Anantatvam. Anantatvat Anandaha. Infinite, therefore it is Ananda. So Anandam is Swarupa Lakshanam. It's intrinsic nature of Brahman because he is infinite. Means any finiteness causes the dukkham, and only infiniteness alone is what is Ananda. So in all my pursuits in life, I am longing to become infinite because I want to be happy. So I am not searching for existence, I am not searching for happiness, but what I am searching for only infiniteness. And infiniteness I want to gain by having this. So I am trying to solve a problem of becoming infinite by adding finite things, which is mathematically impossible because finite plus finite is only finite, however big that finite is. So therefore I can never solve this problem, and I can not stop solving the problem because I want to be happy. So only way a solution to the problem is Vedanta provides is you are trying to solve a problem where there is no problem to solve, and that itself has become a problem because you are spending life after life after life to solve this problem. What? To become infinite. And therefore, says you are already infinite. So if I am already infinite, why am I searching? I means you do not know that I am infinite. So ignorance is a basic problem, and only knowledge will take it out. And here says the intrinsic nature is of the nature of Anandaha, and then Purnaha. It is complete and full. That means there is a infinite. And Purvam Swamayaya Swayameva Jagat Bhutva Pravishad Jiva Rupataha. So Purvam, in the beginning, that means before the creation started, says Sadeva Somya Idamagram Asid, before the creation, that is Purvam. So Maya, by his own Maya, we'll discuss this more. Swayam Eva, by himself, Jagat Bhutva, having become the world, Pravishat Jiva Rupataha, entered into a Jiva in the form of a Jiva. He has Pravisha entered. What is this entering, and how is this world? And Swayameva Bhutva means having become world, he entered again. So this need to be understood clearly. That we will take up in the next talk. We will stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.